Well, here it is for the individuals like the Andre Corbells and the Fool Killer 99s and the Luke Dogs of the world. The Schleg Daddy is here to do his weekly Impact review. All is right with the world again, and you guys can sit back, relax, and enjoy some of the best Impact wrestling talk you're ever gonna see. How you like that? Anyways, what I really liked was Impact this week. This was a really good show. It's amazing when you stop focusing on the 40-somethings and the 50-somethings and the old ECW and WCW and WWE guys, and you focus on the younger guys, your own guys, and you try to make them something. You keep it simple, you make it good, and man, this week's show to me was a lot of fun to watch and was a very, very easy watch at that. I don't care what the ratings were for this show this week. It's 1 week Impact. It's 1 week Dixie. It's 1 week TNA. Please don't panic. Please stay on your current course, because your current course is sure a hell of a lot better than what we've gotten out of this company over the past few years. Beyond question to me. This was a really good show that managed to accomplish a lot. The opening segment really kicked off the fun for me this week. MVP's been pretty good on the mic since he came back, which isn't necessarily a huge surprise. MVP to me has this good ability to make things relatable to me as a fan watching at home. That's what he does. He has a good way about him of doing that to me. And Magnus, I think, is growing in his role as the kind of chicken shit, cowardly, find a way to get it done regardless, by hook or by crook, heel world champion. I think he's done a good job being over there in the UK, the British world champion. You would think he'd be going against the grain, sitting there and being somebody that maybe should be a hero, but instead he's trying to be the villain. He's done a good job of trying to get himself over and try and get himself some heel heat. And here you're trying to establish that Magnus is the guy, but MVP is a viable threat. You're trying to build towards Team Dixie versus Team MVP at Lethal Lockdown at the Lockdown pay-per-view next month. It was a good opening segment. Really good. Didn't overcomplicate things. Put the focus where it needed to be on the match for this week's show between Magnus and Gunner, and then while also building towards the pay-per-view with Team Dixie versus Team MVP. Well done, good performances by both Magnus and MVP. I don't care if it's come only because of situation and circumstance and necessity. Doesn't even matter to me at this point. I love what TNA is doing with Joe. I love how they are making Samoa Joe feel like the viable, legit badass that he should have been the past several freaking years. The fact that you could sit there and say, well, maybe he didn't work as hard as he could and he needs to lose some weight. Maybe some of those things could, in theory, be true. I don't care, though. He was Joe. He was somebody that had a following within TNA. The fans of TNA really liked this guy. And it always seemed like the company the past several years did everything they could to always make Joe look stupid and try to undercut Joe and just completely bury him. Maybe that's because the previous regime didn't like him. I don't know, and I don't care. But they seem to be righting the ship here. They are getting you to believe, once again, truly, that Joe is going to kill you. And here you've got him facing the three-man team of the Bromans. You've got the Bromans and Zema Ion. Hey, you know, my only complaint about this, I guess, if there is one, is he should have been squashing these jobbers quicker than he actually did. He beat him in a 3-on-1 handicap match. And you know why? Because Joe's going to kill you. I love it.
Leave it to the Schleg Daddy to undersell the impact, drawing power, significance of Samoa Joe. Marcus Smart will not do that such thing. Samoa Joe is this close, and I'm about this close to exploding in my short pants. He is this close to becoming the next TNA World Heavyweight Champion. This has been a long time coming. He's been screwed over by this company. They've done so much wrong by him. All the protests I've led on the forums talking about Joe going back to Noah or going to ROH to become a top guy. And our TNA is this close to helping us realize what awesome can truly be by making Samoa Joe the next TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Why? Because he's one of the best motherfucking wrestlers in the world. And the only way this could get better is that as he faces Magnus in a Magnus Rules match at Lockdown inside of that cage, as everybody starts to spill in, and you've got EC3 and all of these helpers for Magnus, come from the crowd comes AJ Styles. He returns to TNA, and he climbs over the cage, and he helps wipe everybody out. And then Samoa Joe makes Magnus tap, and then Samoa Joe has his hand raised by AJ Styles, and he is the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And then AJ Styles turns heel on Samoa Joe, and they have a feud, and they go on to Slammiversary, and they have a 60-minute Iron Man match. Oh my God, it could be the greatest motherfucking wrestling match until the next one between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, because they are also two of the best motherfucking wrestlers in the world.
Long time no see, YWC. Give me the opportunity, if you will, to reintroduce myself, to get all of you reacclimated with who I am and what I do and what I represent. I am the Dick Stone, baby, the long-lost cousin of the cowboy James Storm, the best damn wrestler in TNA today. Woo! Hell yeah, baby. Now, it's been a while since good old Dickie Storm, baby, been on one of these old Impact reviews. But I figured the time was right for me to make my presence known once again. And wouldn't you know, James Storm played a very vital role on this week's show. You know why I love my cousin so much, Daddy? It's because James Storm is a man among boys, and he's a friend, which is very hard to have in the professional wrestling business. Is a friend, and that a true friend. But that's exactly what the cowboy is. Ask Bobby Roode, baby. He came back and he said, "Oh, cowboy, I done wrong, and I feel bad about what I've done. And you were the only person that Bobby Roode could trust, and I let you down. I betrayed you." And as I sit there and happened, there was a whole storm of feelings that rised up right through Dick, baby. Because I was thinking, Bobby Roode, James Storm, beer, money, one more time, Daddy. The greatest tag team in TNA Impact Wrestling history needs to go on and have one last run at glory together, Daddy. But James Storm did what any good friend would do, thought about his friend before himself, and he said, "No, Bobby, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to regret it, baby. Think about what you're doing." And he saved Bobby Roode from walking out. And then he sat there like the big brother that he is, like the father figure that he is. And he helped guide Gunner on his most special night. And as Gunner sat there and absorbed that knowledge like a sponge, the cowboy James Storm said, "You got to stop thinking about others, and you have got to start thinking for yourself and start thinking about yourself, because that's what the cowboy do, baby." What a good friend and what a good man. It's just a shame that TNA apparently doesn't feel as well about the cowboy James Storm as old Dick Storm does, baby. Woo! Ride the Dick Storm, Daddy.
Dixie Carter, Bobby Roode, I'm on to you. I know what you were doing, and it was fucking awesome. Your parody of CM Punk walking out on the WWE was high comedy to me. I love this shit. The way Rude was setting the whole thing up, talking about he's not sure what he's going to do anymore, him talking backstage with James Storm, sitting there saying he screwed it up and beer money was magic, and making it seem like he was going to walk out on the company, Dixie saying, "You're under contract. You can't just go, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm just going to pick up my ball and go home." Fucking outstanding. I laughed during this entire segment. But man, Bobby Roode did a really good job of selling this, and this was a really good kind of jab at CM Punk and the WWE. Really good parody to me in some ways of that situation. Interesting, though, that it all results in Dixie Carter's character giving Bobby Roode the chance to captain her team at Lockdown in the Lethal Lockdown match and presenting him with a 10% ownership stake. Ooh, 10% of not very much is definitely not very much. Yay, Bobby Roode! I have to give TNA credit with the Samuel Shaw character. I would have never envisioned that this is what they were going to do with the guy. Was a former gut check participant. It's different. It's different. I'll give it that. I wonder what the end game is, or I wonder what the purpose of him is, what you are going to do with him. But at least they're doing something different with him. And if this whole thing with him and Christy Hemme is going to be used as a catalyst to start feuds, then I'm all fine with that. It'd actually be kind of cool at one point in time if Christy Hemme ends up kind of falling for Samuel Shaw in some ways. But if he's going to feud with Mr. Anderson, then I'm fine with that. At least, like I said, it's something a little bit different right now. And different is fine, and it's a new, fresh face, which, again, is just fine with me for TNA.
I love Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. They are two tremendous singles competitors in the world of professional wrestling. And the only thing that's even more awesome is when you pair them together and you make up a tag team called Bad Influence. Oh my God, I can't take it. And then Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, two of the best motherfuckers in the world. They're a tag team. They're in TNA. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it. And they had a match. Fucking 5-star classic. Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. The Wolves. They're one of the best motherfucking tag teams in the world. Just like Bad Influence is one of the best motherfucking tag teams in the world. Oh, yeah. Oh, they touched. Oh, they touched. This was a 5-star classic.
I always talk about in my different videos about WWE or TNA, just wrestling in general, doesn't matter. That one of the most important things you could do is get people emotionally invested in the characters and in the storyline. If you get that emotional investment out of people, you get them to suspend their disbelief, you get them to buy in, everything seems to matter more and everything seems to have more consequence to it, and as a result, you could potentially draw more money doing it. What TNA did with these video packages for Magnus, and in particular Gunner, throughout the course of the night, really got you sold on them both, and really got you emotionally invested in both, especially in the case of Gunner. This was really, really well done by TNA. They got you really getting with Gunner and getting behind Gunner and feeling Gunner and understanding Gunner and really, really, really wanting you to see Gunner beat Magnus and become the next TNA World Heavyweight Champion. This was really, really well done. To weave this in throughout the whole show, to build up to your main event, this felt really damn good. This is the type of stuff that we should get more often in professional wrestling. Really, really well done here. You know, it took me from kind of being about Gunner a little bit to making me more emotionally invested in the Gunner character and liking the Gunner character as somebody for me that I am supposed to cheer more, in part because of what they did here. This was really damn good. And then you get to the match here. Now, the whole thing about the Magnus rules or whatever is what it is. It's just going to have to kind of deal with it, and that's fine. But this was a major spot, a major moment, a real chance for a Gunner to shine. And I feel like for the most part, he did a relatively good job. I don't think he's somebody that you would want carrying your company at this point. I don't think he's that far away, but I also don't think he's quite there yet. I do think that Magnus at this point is a little bit better all around. I know some of you will disagree with me there. That's fine. I think he might be a little more polished, and he might be a little more believable in terms of being a world champion. But the match here between the two of them was fine. And when he got to the end, even though you knew with the way it was being set up that something might happen here, and even when you saw James Storm out there, you're like, why is he staying out there? Something's going to happen here. And even as James Storm got in the ring and he's kind of positioning himself, you're like, oh, don't do it. Don't do it. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. And then his Gunner jumps off the top rope, and James Storm super kicks the hell out of him, of his chest or whatever. You're like, ow, you asshole. Why'd you do that? How could you do that to your boy Gunner? That was fucking awesome. And that is how you create a real personal issue. This has been something that's been going on for a little bit of time. And I was talking about it before between James Storm and Gunner, how I was liking the fact that they were kind of blurring the lines with who you should cheer for and who you should be against, whether it be James Storm or Gunner, and going with both characters potentially being the good guy or the bad guy in this situation. And I love how they did it here, where Gunner was this close to achieving the ultimate prize in TNA. He was this close to becoming the man, this close to becoming TNA World Heavyweight Champion, only to have what he thought was his best friend kick him back to reality and knock him down a peg. That is how you create a real personal issue. Now these two guys have clearly set the table to go have a real physical match at Lockdown inside of the steel cage. This is the type of stuff that I wish we got more in professional wrestling. Tag team partners become best friends, and then they become bitter rivals because one gets ultimately jealous of the other. Outstanding finish to Impact. Even as James Storm's sitting there kind of like, looking like he's going to take a huge Hulk dump. He just took a huge Hulk dump all over Gunner's chances to become TNA World Champion. This was awesome. But, why, James Storm? Why'd you have to do it? I wonder what the Dick Storm's got to say about this.
So Gunner, feeling like he can fly. How about a super kick right in your eye? Making Gunner feel like he want to cry. James Storm, till the day he die, will always be the better guy. All of you sitting there wondering, Dickie Storm, baby, how could James Storm do that? It's because he can. Because it was the right thing to do. James Storm got screwed over by Gunner. This should have been his opportunity. This should have been his moment. This should have been James Storm's moment for glory over there in the UK, Daddy. But we don't forget that modern-day Viking Gunner. He stole that opportunity. So we had to bring him crashing back down to earth. Oh, Gunner, you had so much potential and so much possibility. Now James Storm gonna have to bury you quicker than the Breakfast Club do new talents in the WWE. We'll see you at Lockdown, bitch, when James Storm will prove that he is the better man, as only he can. Woo! Ride the Dick Storm, baby.